Thank you for asking this question. This is literally what I do, and so I'm going to share my story with you, the long version. So, I'm a human potential coach, and I've been living on the tropical coast of Mexico for the past 5 years, and now I've been called to move to the mountains. And people are like, how do you do this? How do you travel? What are you doing? You must have a lot of money. So, I'm going to share my whole story with you because it's actually my job to help people exit the matrix and live more magical lives. On my YouTube page, there is a guided breathwork meditation called How to Prosper Outside of the Matrix. Now, it takes about an hour to do it. It requires some effort, but it's worth it because it will reprogram you to understand what I'm going to try to share with you here. So, there's many angles to prospering outside of the matrix, and I'm going to share them all with you. Okay? So, rule number 1 for prospering outside of the matrix in the new paradigm is service. You align yourself with service. You say, how can I help the most people the most just by being myself? And you can't really fake service. It has to be genuine. You have to be coming from a good place. You really want to help people and you find joy in that, and you like to do whatever it is you like to do. It could be cooking or walking dogs or building things or listening to people or whatever it is that you do. It doesn't matter what it is. You be yourself. You do what you do in a way that is beneficial to other people, to the whole, and you do this joyfully. You align with service, and this will bring you prosperity. Okay? So the other thing is you stay in the heart frequency. So it sounds really woo-woo, but it's not. It's actually a measurable grid. Christians were very confused when they said, accept Jesus into your heart, because the heart is the Christ grid frequency. Okay, so just stick with me here. I know this sounds crazy, but if you're sitting in your room and you're like, that's so cool, I want to travel, how do I get out of this 9-to-5 job? Well, if you're really actually willing to put in the work and live courageously from your heart, then this will work. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you how to do this because I've always done this. I was born like this, and I'll get to that too. Okay, so wherever you go, you have to show up in a good way. You always show up with permission of the space. If I'm entering this forest, I say permission to enter the forest. If I hear a no, if the fairies and the gnomes and the ancestors and the spirits of the land tell me no, I don't go there. So following the path of the heart is not always an easy path. It can take you places that are unexpected. It can take you places that your ego didn't think you wanted to go, but you will be guided and you will be taken care of. So the heart frequency, last time I was back in the States, I was briefly mentioning to my dad what I do, that I help people live soul aligned lives, to align with their hearts and to live in joy doing what they love. And then before I left, my dad was like, I just want to let you know, I disagree with you. And I think that's very irresponsible. And I have to tell you, and what he was thinking, because when I say you follow your joy and you live from your heart, he's thinking you follow your impulses and you do what you want. And so if you're not in your heart, you're coming from your lower impulses. So if you're following your joy and you're coming from your first, second, third chakra, you're going to end up fucking your neighbor's wife or eating too much or being lazy. So the heart grid is actually a measurable thing. The person who invented muscle testing wrote a book called Power versus Force, where they quantifiably, numerically measured the numerical value of different emotional states, with shame being the lowest state, and it goes up and up and up. But there's a certain level when you get to the heart. So I'm going to tell you what the heart frequency feels like. Have you ever had a really good summer where everything was just flowing, or you were on a road trip and you kept meeting the right people at the right time, or you were hanging out with your favorite group of people or your magical auntie or something like that, and you got in this flow state where all the doors were opening for you? That is the frequency of the heart. That is the 5D. That's where we're going. So once you face your shadow, you align with the win-win-win, you align with service, you pop out into this other reality, this other dimension where we're all rooting for each other. There's a high degree of empathetic joy, and it's like, what you need is what I have, and what I have is what you need. And we're all dreaming one dream together from our hearts. That's why in Project Looking Glass that the CIA was doing when they were trying to manipulate all these timelines, after 2027, all the timelines converge in a high vibe timeline, because we're all dreaming one dream from our hearts, and nothing can stop that. Okay, so if you bow your head to your heart, and I put my hand like this, like an antenna, and I say, what's the next step for me now? Your heart is going to tell you stuff, and it's not going to be convenient. It's going to be like, quit your job, go take ayahuasca in the Amazon. Or it's going to be like, go help that old lady cross the street. It's going to be like, move back in with your parents, or whatever it is. It might not be what your ego thinks, but it will be the holistic answer. So whatever the answers that your heart gives you, it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for your family, and for the win-win-win, for the earth, for self, others, planet. It's not going to be giving you like frivolous, selfish answers, how my dad was imagining. I'm just like, oh, follow your heart is frivolous. It's not frivolous. That's when we're dreaming together. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how all this started, and maybe this will inspire you. But you don't need money to travel. You do need to stay in alignment with the heart frequency grid, okay? So I'm going to tell you a couple stories, and maybe you'll start to understand. Okay, before I start, let me just say, heaven on earth is a regulated nervous system, okay? And I will also say that I follow spirit, and I go where I'm guided, and I do what's needed wherever I am. So, okay. So when I was 14 in California, I was working a job at a hamburger place that sold Italian freezies. And I grew up in a Mexican neighborhood, but I flunked Spanish in high school. So I was in high school, and I was like, what the fuck? I want to get out of here. I was like, I want to go the most opposite place possible. Like, just where's the most opposite place? So I was like, maybe I'll be an exchange student in Thailand. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were like, no, that's a horrible idea. You can't, you're too young. What are you thinking? But I finally talked him into it, and my dad said I could go if I learned Spanish, if I went somewhere that spoke Spanish. So I went to Ecuador. And so at the age of 15, for a whole year, I went to rural Ecuador. I was placed with a host family on a farm in the mountains. It was very cold. It was near the Colombian border. It was a potato farm. We had cows, we made cheese, bread, potatoes. So I was going to high school there. It took me about 3 months to learn Spanish. And one of the uncles from the family, once I understood Spanish, he told me that they had other foreign exchange girls, one from Switzerland and one from Wisconsin, and that those girls were always traveling. So once I found out that that was possible, I was like, I'm out of here. It's cold. I'm going to the beach. So I went to the beach, and then one day I was trying to take money out of my bank account, and I realized that my host sister had robbed all my money. So then I was stranded at the beach with no money. So I went to ask for a job, and I got a job passing out flyers at a nightclub on the beach. So I worked there for a little while, and then I wanted a change of scenery, so I hitchhiked to another town, and each day I was making only exactly the amount that I needed. So I was making $5 a day. So $2 would go to my hostel, and then $1 each for each meal. So I was making $5 a day. I was spending $5 a day. So I had no money. So I get to this new town at the base of the Amazon, and I check myself into a hotel with no money, thinking I'll pay them later. I go out to the streets, and I get myself 3 jobs. The first job I found was, there was an American there who was like running from the law in the States, and he had a 3-year-old daughter, and he wanted me to speak English to her, and he was going to let me eat at his cafe. He had like a health food cafe. Then I got another job translating for Jungle Tours. So that's the job that I ended up keeping. And I did get another job, but I don't remember what it was. So I ended up translating for Jungle Tours, and I had enough to live, and I really didn't want to come back to the United States. But once my parents found out what I was doing, and it was time to go back. I had to go back and finish high school in the United States. But the point is like, if you stay aligned, money is not the most important thing. So there's a Buddhist parable, and the Buddhist parable says that when you seek wealth only for yourself, you're competing with all other humans. And when you seek wealth on behalf of the collective, all the doors are open for you. So so when I moved to this town, I was scared because the internet is really bad here. The power goes out all the time, and most of my work is online. I teach an online breathwork class once a week for the last 2 years, and that was paying my rent. So I had to cancel the class because the power goes out all the time and it's really sketchy. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make a living. I have some coaching calls. I coach people how to exit the matrix and live a more magical life. So that's what I'm doing. When you listen to your heart, it will give you the perfect GPS roadmap for you. And your roadmap will be different than my roadmap. Your roadmap will be exactly what you need based off of your skill set and what you have to offer the world and your neighbors and your family and humanity. And what have you been like building up to? Like, what do you know how to do? And whatever that is, it's valuable. We're all needed. We're all worthy. We're all important. And living this path of the heart is not always easy. Like, it requires a lot of letting go of what we think we are, or what we think we're supposed to do, or what we think things look like, and constantly surrendering to what is and to what wants to come through us, and surrendering to service. So I'm not recommending to anyone to move to Mexico. I know people are going to be triggered. Wah, wah, wah. You move to Mexico. Some people will be. I'll just block those people, honestly. I know haters boost the algorithm, but like, I just don't even feel like dealing with that. Like, you don't know me, bitch. Get out of my face. Don't take advice from people who are not doing what you want to do. The best thing to take advice from is your own heart. So when I do coaching, I will reflect to you your own truth. That's what I'm there. I'm not there to tell you the truth or to tell you what you should do. I'm there to see into the truth of your soul and to reflect that for you and to hold that mirror for you so you can remember who you are and what you came here for and what you're supposed to be doing, and remember that the way out is in, that the kingdom of heaven is within, that heaven on earth is a regulated nervous system, that your answers come from within, that God is within, and that you are God. And we're all God, and we're all connected. So if you're too in your head, it's not going to work. I'll tell you one more story. I was dating this guy, and he wanted to come be with me in Mexico. And I was imagining how it would go for him based off of like what I would do. I was imagining like if he was in his heart, how it would go for him. I was like, okay, there's like an English speaking community here, so he can make a couple friends there, and then he can learn Spanish doing this other activity, and I was imagining that if he stayed in his joy and that he stayed in the alignment of his heart, which I was just imagining that he was already going to do that he would be fine, and that he would just, jobs would open up. He has like a lot of skills like carpentry and haircutting and cooking and things like that. So I was like, okay, if he just follows the joy, right? Like signs up for a couple of classes that he likes, meets some English speaking people, meets some Spanish speaking people, takes some Spanish lessons, like all the doors will open up if you stay in alignment. Like you'll get a carpentry job, you'll get this job, a that job, a house sitting, whatever. And he didn't. He came and he was like worried. Not alignment, super dysregulated. A lot of trauma came up. And then Mexico spit him out. He wasn't aligned because the overall frequency was a heart frequency, even with the locals. So, stay in your heart. And it's not a woo-woo thing. Like if you don't know what I'm talking about and you need help learning what I'm talking about, that's why I offer coaching. Okay? So you can book a consultation call at lovelikeanocean.com. The first call is by conscious donation, and then if you want to do continued work together, we can talk about that. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your question, and let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, or if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? Thanks for tuning in.